Today we have a special TV show because we have Mr. Cloutier, CEO of Cartier Resources, but Mr. Cloutier is also on the board of the Association of Quebec Mineral Association Exploration, is the chairman of that organization. So we're going to talk to him about the mining royalties in Quebec that have been adopted yesterday by the Quebec government. So we want to have his put and what his impressions are on that. So Mr. Cloutier is there live. So let's talk to you first, Mr. Cloutier. Welcome by.
Hello.
Hello. So tell us, Mr. Cloutier, because we saw the royalty and taxes. From what we heard, there was a royalty production, a 1% tax on the first $80 million of mineral output, increasing to 4% after that point. With that, don't you think that junior companies like yours won't be impacted?
Well, yes, it will especially have an impact on junior exploration companies and junior producers. For the senior producers, it'll be on a case-by-case issue.
Okay.
They'll have to measure the impacts. But the fact of the matter is that in Quebec, we're already the highest tax jurisdiction in North America. So whether you have 0.5%, 1%, or the worst case would have been the 5% that the government had promised in their electoral campaign last year. But notwithstanding that, we remain the highest tax mining jurisdiction in North America. And that cannot be a good, that cannot be an attractive feature for investors.
Okay, excellent. So tell us, because I know you're the chairman of the Association of the Quebec Mineral Exploration. Tell us, how did the process go? Because the government had to hear a lot of voices. Did they hear your organization, and how do you feel? Do you feel that your voices, what you told them, was heard or at least respected a little bit, and the plan that they came up with?
Well, yeah, indeed. Following the elections, they did engage themselves in a process where they wanted to consult everybody. The social organizations, but as well as the mining companies and the exploration companies.
Okay.
In the exploration companies' point of view, or our association's point of view, is that, listen, we're spearheading the entire industry. I mean, if you don't explore, you can't make any discoveries. If you don't make any discoveries, you can't bring a project into production.
Yeah.
And then it's a moot point. I mean, royalties are only charged on productive mines. If you don't get to that level of production, then the whole discussion on royalties is a moot point. And so what we're saying is, if you want to encourage junior exploration companies, if you want to encourage them to come to Quebec and to seek investment, bring investment dollars here from Western Canada, Europe, the States, and Asia, to bring it here in Quebec, then you need to create incentives, and it's not by adding any taxes that you're going to do that.
Okay, but as I'm understanding, the question bar is open, so folks, if ever there's any questions, feel free to answer them. Mr. Cloutier is open to that. What I'm understanding is that this is going to impact companies that produce, and this law, there are not enough incentives for the junior companies to continue to explore more, to bring them into a production phase. But don't you think that in general, the Quebec, isn't it Quebec province known to be a business-friendly province, especially for junior companies? Aren't there enough incentives in place already in the system?
Listen, you are right. Quebec has always been known to be a business-friendly or attractive jurisdiction. Okay. Come here and do business. And we had a very transparent, stable, and predictable mining regime, mining law, and proactive or proactive fiscal regime. Now, since a year now, that has changed, and in fact, it had started to change with the previous government when they had actually hiked the tax rate from 12 to 16%. And we all know that we're only going to see the effects of that first hike in 2014, when the Auditor General actually does the books for 2011 and 12 and 13. So we're only going to get a full measure of the first tax hike. So now you increase the taxes again. That's number one. For two, the mining law is still under revision, and there's going to be a new law proposed That's the second point. The third point is that you've reduced access to exploration because there's continuously these new areas that are being blocked off from exploration. And then and finally, it just creates a general sense of uncertainty of what's going to happen next in Quebec. Just consider the uranium situation. There's the Crees of northern Quebec have basically declared that there's going to be a ban on exploration.
Yeah.
And then the government goes and adds another layer. So in the recent years, we've gone 180 on being entirely attractive to now strictly only competing with other jurisdictions.
Okay.
Now in Quebec, you only produce 0.6% of the world's gold production. So if you shut down all the gold mines in the Abitibi, I dare say the global gold market will just barely notice if all their mines shut down. But that's not to say that we don't have an impact. At least here in Quebec, it generates 60,000 jobs, and it provides a very dynamic and innovative resource center for companies that eventually grow bigger and go abroad.
Okay. Two questions, Mr. Cloutier. I want your put in it. First of all, as the chairman and association of the Quebec Mineral Exploration, I remember when you came for an interview, you said that sometimes the mining industry is not doesn't do enough publicity sometimes. So you, as the chairman of the association of the Quebec Mineral Exploration, how do you intend to move your organization forward to make sure that this law doesn't impact a lot of your members? And second of all, how does Cartier Resources, because you're the CEO of Cartier Resources, how does your company has prepared for this law, and how would you guys be able to navigate throughout this winds of uncertainty that actually the government has just put in place with these new laws and these new tax hikes?
Okay, several things here. The first is that we in the industry are excessively proud of what we bring to Quebecers and how we've developed this industry over the past 25 years. So first, it's a question of pride. Second, we're convinced that we're doing things better and better, with respect to social acceptance and the environment. So we're here to stay. We intend on staying, and we intend on participating on all social dialogue and environmental regulations that should be implemented. So we're currently moving forward with a communication strategy that we've proactively been setting in motion for the last 2 or 3 years, and that simply includes showing up and answering questions as they're being asked by the public, by the concerned groups, by the government. And we're there to answer the questions. Do we have answers to all the questions? No, because some of them haven't even been asked yet. But so one of our communication strategy is to be there and answer in a very transparent and proactive fashion. And we simply ask the public to bear with us because we're here to help create an industry that promotes sustainable development in a proactive manner. And what we do ask, however, is that the government becomes our partner and helps us continue to go out there in the Western markets, American markets, European and Asian markets, to help us continue to fund the growth of our industry.
Okay. And you as Cartier Resources, how you guys have been prepared for that, and how does your exploration program is going on so far? Because if we take a look at your graph, you guys are doing almost like all junior companies. Right now you're testing an important support, so on the point where we might have a reversal of that downward trend and a possible entry point. So how are things going on in Cartier Resources, Mr. Cloutier?
Well, arguably with Cartier, things are different, or basically they are particular, because we put ourselves in a position where we're strong with cash.
Okay.
We have over $3 million in the bank, and so therefore we're not vulnerable to disappearing. Second of all, we don't have short-term obligations of any sort, so we're able to sit and guard the cash. and also we're monitoring actively to get into this market and acquire assets that have been neglected or not fully assessed by previous partners. We also have our marketing strategy, and indeed that includes making people aware that Cartier is in fact testing all-time lows, as your chart was in evidence. And we're telling people, look, this is probably one of the best times to invest in our company because we have cash, we're on the verge of seizing opportunities. We've just completed an aggressive drill program on one of our flagship properties, Benoit, and we will be publishing the results at the end of May, and we like what we see. And also, in the last 3 to 4 years, we've stepped away from the grassroots early stage exploration, and we've migrated into a lower risk area where we actually focus our attention on historically discovered deposits.
Okay.
And I'd like to point out that in the last 5 to 10 years, the deposits or the discoveries in the Abitibi have all been revisited situations. Osisko, Detour Gold, Lapa, La Ronde, Westwood, Bachelor, Narstar. All of these discoveries are actually the companies that had gone back onto old historic resource or discoveries and that decided, listen, I don't have to go to the exotic jurisdictions in the Great White North. I have this in my backyard. I'm going to go deeper along the established vector and the mineral trend, and I will drill this out. And that's what's produced the recent mines in the Abitibi. So we've decided to exploit a niche that's being neglected, and we're targeting our efforts on historic discoveries and resources.
Okay, excellent. So, Mr. Cloutier, thanks again for coming back, for giving us your opinion on this new law, and we'll look forward, of course, to hear back more from Cartier in the next couple of months.
Yeah, and listen, I just want to point out, I mean, Quebec is a very fertile and jurisdiction. It's got a lot of potential. I encourage all investors to keep an eye out and become one of those voices that tells the governments of all walks to give the industry the support that it needs to continue to attract investment dollars here. And please, do your homework, and there are a lot of good juniors like Cartier out there, and I encourage you to buy their stock. This is the time we need your support. Thank you.
Excellent, Mr. Cloutier.